Welcome to Startup Spokane, where hosts Steve Traben and Megan Halsey explore the excitement and momentum growing throughout Spokane's expanding startup community. Startup Spokane is a joint effort between Greater Spokane Incorporated's Startup Spokane, our friends at Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Talks Online. Now, here are your hosts, Steve and Megan.
Welcome to Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Media, your podcast home for everything entrepreneurship related in the Spokane region. I'm your host, Steve Traben. Joining me is Megan Halsey, your dynamic duo. And Startup Spokane is a program of Greater Spokane Incorporated. And whether you have an idea, you've launched, or you're growing your business, we're here to provide you with the resources you need so that you can be successful. So Megan, with all of that said, let's have you introduce our great guest today.
I'm really excited that today we have Pete Taylor, co-founder of Spiceology, joining us today. Spiceology is one of my personal favorite startups we have here in town. Pete, can you tell us a little bit about Spiceology, what it is, what the brand is, and what you do?
Sure. It's a spice company, chef-owned, chef-operated. We specialize in unique blends, so barbecue rubs. We also we're sort of disrupting the B2B space with spices, selling to chefs.
Great.
So we sell over 225 different ingredients, spices, herbs, chilies, salts, blends, modernist ingredients for the food geeks out there. And we ship from one warehouse in Spokane, and that's what we do.
Yeah,
Very
and
exciting.
let's talk about when you started, kind of how you started a little bit, just to give people context for kind of where you are in
For sure.
in your business life.
So, as you guys already know, I was a chef the majority of my life, and always passionate about food, flavor, spices. So, what was that? 2011, I took that leap of faith, and it was 2012. I quit my chef job, but prior to that, what I did was I did a Kickstarter because I had a concept and it involved spices, and I just wanted to see if there was anything out there, and I did it, and we were fully funded. It was only like $12,000 or $13,000. And right around that same time, I heard about this wonderful thing called Startup Weekend. And so I believe right after the Kickstarter, I talked to Brett Noyes, and I participated in that Startup Weekend, and that really helped validate what I was doing, and then I quit my chef job.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that was the
Very
very
good.
first Startup Weekend Spokane
It was.
that we had held. And since then, we've done a total of 11 of them. We used to
Wow.
do them twice a year. Now we do them once a year, and you continue to participate in a number of ways. So thank you
Yeah,
for doing that.
Thanks for doing
So talk more about the product lines, who your customers are, how they get access, the channels by which you sell, those
For sure.
kinds of things.
So, we sell to everybody. Everybody usually flavors their food, whether it's with salt and pepper or if they are really into ethnic cooking. So our customer segments, man, we sell to chefs, we sell to home cooks, we sell to everybody in between, at casinos, hospitals, school districts, military bases, prisons. We sell on Amazon. We sell online. We sell to major retailers across the country, actually across the globe now.
Wow.
We're starting to build a little bit of a presence in Australia, Dubai, obviously Canada, a little bit in the United Kingdom. But yeah, we're sort of hitting the map all over the place. I believe we're in about 5,000 or 6,000 stores in the U.S., and then a couple thousand of restaurants, which we just started really pushing about a year and a half ago. And we're in a lot of homes. I don't know how many, but I'd say it's...
Well, I know you're in mine, and Megan,
mine,
I'm
and
assuming...
all of my family has them.
I'd high five you, but it's all good.
Yeah, so where do you get the inspiration for the different blends? One of the things that I really love about the products that you've brought to market is their seasonings I haven't found other places, like the Thai peanut. There's no other place I've ever found a Thai peanut rub.
For sure. So one of the things when I was looking at doing this spice company and doing it really well and not becoming another commodity or I wanted to diversify. I wanted to be different. I wanted to stand out on the shelf. And so very early on, I partnered up with Heather Schulten, who's she's a nationally recognized food blogger, and she's a mega foodie too. And so we got together and we sort of conspired and came up with flavors that have never been done before, never been seen before, like the Thai peanut. And so we launched quite a few. We had the world's first raspberry chipotle, which was real dehydrated raspberries and chipotle powder. The world's first black and blue, where we took dehydrated blue cheese and Cajun spice, which is awesome on popcorn.
I love that one too.
And then the Thai peanut and quite a few other ones. So, we really pride ourselves in our flavor innovation because we saw all these other industries like potato chips go from 6 flavors to 40 flavors overnight. You can get dill pickle potato chips and chicken and waffle potato chips. Same thing with salsas. Same thing with ketchups. Same thing with jams. There was tons of flavor innovation, but spices were always the same exact ones. You got your Montreal, you have your taco seasoning, your lemon pepper, and then really what's after that. So
Right.
that's why we hit innovation so hard.
Right, and it makes it easier because as a home chef, sometimes it's hard to figure out how to combine the different subtle flavorings into something that really is well balanced and packs a punch, and that's what makes it so easy to pull one of these off the shelf and just have a complete meal.
Yeah, one of our taglines is to experiment with flavor, and so that's why I love the blend so much. It really allows anybody. It doesn't matter what your technical skill level is at. You just rub it on, throw it in the oven or on the grill, and you're good to go.
So, are you continuing to innovate in the food realm?
Oh yeah. So for 2019, we have about 9 new flavors we're just about to deploy here shortly. So
Very nice.
to give you perspective, I think we only launched 1 in 2018. So
Wow.
we're really hitting it hard this year.
Yeah, and talk more about that innovation process, Pete. I mean, how do you come up with these new blends?
Yeah.
What's that
How
look
can
like?
I volunteer to be a taster?
You know where we're at. So it's fun, Steve. We as I said earlier, we're chef-owned, chef-operated. The majority of all of our staff is from the industry.
Right.
And so we're just a bunch of passionate foodies and chefs that love to experiment with flavors. So what we'll do is we'll identify trends, flavor trends, and then we'll sort of take that and manipulate it into a potential MVP of rub. And one we're working on right now is like a Bloody Mary blend, which has all of the unique characteristics of a Bloody Mary, but you could put it on your steak, your prawns.
Wow.
And so it's a lot of testing in our lab. We have the scales and we have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then it all comes together when you're cooking with it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of trial and error and development, R&D.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating and unique, right? I mean, different than what people will normally find on the store shelves.
For sure.
So I want to take a little step back and talk again about who your customers are, right? So some of the products that we have on display, the nice pack that we have here, these are really for your retail consumers, right?
Yeah. So that's our gift pack.
Yeah.
And we have a ultimate 12-count set of the minis that let you try everything that we have for blends, and then those were very popular last holiday seasoning.
Got it.
And then we have our food service line right there.
Yeah, so that's what I want you to kind of differentiate for our viewers.
For sure.
Talk about the food service
And
line.
why did you start doing this? What is it that made this necessary?
So I'll start with that. So the reason why we launched the food service line is, once again, we were all chefs, and we were sitting around at a executive team meeting, and we're like, hey, we're doing all these things right, but what we're not doing right is selling spices to chefs. And coincidentally, 60% of all spices bought and consumed in the U.S. is actually for food service. So there's this massive opportunity, $3.6 billion of food service. Whoa.
Oops.
That's all right.
Uh-oh.
Casualty.
So we recognize there's a massive opportunity, and then all of our competitors aren't really doing it right down to the packaging. And I think this sort of segues into what Steve was trying to get out of me, is you'll notice that we have different colored labels, and the reason being is we want to add organization onto the shelf, because normally a chef will have 60, 70, 80 different spices, and it's really hard to keep it organized. So what we did was we created the periodic table of flavor.
Yep.
And if you can imagine, all the salts have a blue label, all the spices have a yellow label, all the herbs have a green label, all the chilies have a red label.
So
all
they
the
have
blends.
families.
Yes, exactly. And it allows you to keep your spice rack organized and everything easily identifiable.
Yeah, because I mean, in the restaurants, I mean, I look at, my place of work. We actually have we have kind of a restaurant
Commissary,
buffet.
yeah.
And I can see that their spices are just,
Indiscriminable.
they're all in, these jugs that are the same color, and I don't know how they discern, what's what. So this provides some level of organization, and just is a fascinating solution.
Gives chefs have OCD. It's like in our DNA, and there's one thing that we do not like. Everything has to be in its place, and when you have a spice rack that there's no rhyme or reason, law and order, it really bothers us. So that's why we're growing so fast.
Yeah.
With food service.
So
That's fantastic.
people can find your product on your website in the Amazon Marketplace. They can find it in supermarkets.
Correct.
And they can also find them. You have private label channels as well. So talk a minute about that, because that's fascinating too.
Yeah, and it's very exciting for us because we were, fast forward 3 or 4 years ago, we were at we got a phone call from Williams-Sonoma, and they wanted to carry our product, and we began the relationship with them, and maybe a year later, they were like, hey, we really believe in what you're doing. Can you actually make our products for us? And so we do a ton of private label. If you go into Williams-Sonoma, a lot of the blends that you'll pick up, we actually do it here in Spokane.
That's really exciting because that's just a great top shelf retailer. And so it's nice to see that you're making inroads in there.
For sure.
Yeah. So a lot of different channels, right? And you're from a performance standpoint. I mean, my sense is you've been on a kind of a hockey stick
yeah.
of growth. Why is that? Is it because of all the different channels? Or?
Honestly, I think the real growth has been in the last couple of years, and we've focused. We focus on food service tremendously, and we focus on digital commerce, selling to on Amazon and on our e-commerce site, and that's really where the growth, the scale is coming from, is focus.
Yeah, and we have much more to talk to Pete about Spiceology, the journey, what's in store for you and your great organization. Stay with us when we come back on Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Media.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
Welcome to a new kind of talk show, Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversations that include respect for opinions, facts, and diversity.
Spokane Talks, Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Fox 28.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Welcome back. We're having a great conversation with Pete Taylor, co-founder of Spiceology. And Pete, we've talked a lot about kind of the product side and what it is that Spiceology provides to customers, both business and consumer. Let's talk more about the journey of the business itself. I mean, you started this, you brought on Heather, you've grown a lot, you've moved a few times. Let's talk a little bit about sort of that kind of timeline.
5 times in 5 years.
That's
not fun.
That's a hockey stick in and of itself.
So we're coming up on our 6-year anniversary, and quite honestly, we didn't know what the heck we were doing in the first couple of years. So last 4 years have been very, 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 very crazy growth for us. It started out with just me, and then me and my wife, my partner. Now we are just shy of 40 employees.
Wow.
Fantastic.
And we have quite a few, independent contractors too that work with us. So yeah, we're centrally located here in Spokane, and we just moved once again. I think we'll be in the space for a couple of years.
Yeah, and are you? I guess this is kind of back to the product side. You guys are blending, doing all the manufacturing in Spokane, or are you doing it in other places? What does that look like?
So we have a couple joint venture partners that will do our industrial blending for us. One in Portland, one in Los Angeles. And we do some of our manufacturing here, but we're growing so fast we can't really keep up with it. So our partners are actually helping us out.
And then they'll drop ship for you.
Yep.
So your employees, so these 40 or so employees, those are all in Spokane?
Correct.
Today? And
except for one in Las Vegas.
Okay. And talk about, were you hiring people in Spokane to work for you, or are you bringing people into Spokane?
Yeah.
Because your staff is pretty much food-based, right? I mean, these are chefs and whatnot, so I don't know what the market looks like.
Yeah, we've been pretty blessed. We have recruited the majority of our staff, like 95% of our staff from Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area. We just actually brought in our first employee from out of state or out of this region from North Carolina, and our operations manager. So he just packed up everything and moved across country.
Wow.
Yeah,
speaks volumes to why that they would want to come and work for a company that's growing and doing what you're doing.
It is. It's pretty humbling.
I think the other thing that's really interesting about your story is, well, you've started with spices and spice blends. You've started thinking more holistic, right? And so you recently made an acquisition. I want you to talk a little bit about how you're sort of moving in some other directions where you're kind of wrapping around the entire food.
Building a strategy
around the foodies, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
So what we did was we realized food service is where it's at. Like I said, 60% of the spice industry is food service. So one of the key initiatives for us was to really take on that very aggressively. So what we did was we identified one of the largest social networks of chefs out there. It's called True Cooks. And True Cooks, it's a For Chefs by Chefs brand. It's over 200,000 different chefs and cooks and culinarians from across the globe. And it's a lifestyle brand too. You know, we do hats, shirts, culinary gear, pretty much everything that's chef centric. And so we acquired them back in January of last year, and it was a very good move for the company.
Yeah, and then there was another partnership, and I'm going to blow the name, but it's like the Man Cave, Spice Cave, something.
Spice Cave, yeah.
Spice Cave.
Yeah. So,
right? So again, just talk a little bit about some of these partnerships, relationships.
For sure. So Spice Cave is another one of our brands. Within the Spiceology organization, we have Spiceology, Spice Cave, True Cooks, and a couple other brands under that too, but those are the main brands. And with every brand that we have, it's a little bit different. Like Spice Cave appeals to the Whole30, the paleo crowd, the CrossFit crowd. It's more about the clean eating. Not that our spices are not clean, but the seasonings fit with their particular diet. Yeah, so it's partnerships. It's been a massive initiative for us. Just Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You talked a little bit about the whole forming partnerships and how important that's been for your growth. But how do you fund the kind of rapid growth you've seen? One of the things I like about your story is you've hit so many different touch points in an entrepreneurial journey. It's like, it's a great example because we can talk about, you did crowdfunding early. Then how do you grow from there? What's the financial strategy?
For sure. It's not easy, that's for sure. It's a lot of sacrifice, and one thing that we turned to is crowdfunding. Our first crowdfunding project launched the company, and we've done, I think, 4 or 5 different projects throughout the year. The last one we did about $187,000 in 30 days. Outside of crowdfunding, it's really hard with a high growth company to get traditional or conventional access to cash. So one of the things that we did a friends and family round a couple of years ago, and then we just finished up our Series Seed. So
yeah, and how much can you disclose how much you raised? Or?
I believe we can. It was $2.5 million.
Yeah, so it's that's significant, and most of those dollars were most of them raised in the region, or?
Yeah, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene region. There's a little bit from the west side of the state and then down in the Bay Area, but majority was here.
And the use of those proceeds, obviously, to help grow in terms of staffing and
the majority is to help manage the growth. Obviously, it's bringing on more employees, bringing on more inventory, moving once again. It's expensive to grow at the rate that we're growing.
Yeah, and before we're gonna segue and talk about kind of what the future looks like for you, but I had the opportunity to meet what I think you call an influencer, an individual that is blogging and really helping to promote Spiceology. Yet that individual or these individuals aren't part of Spiceology. Talk about that. I think that influencer network is fascinating.
Influencer marketing definitely is it's really disrupting marketing. There are these people, whether it's living with Landon, who's this, she's a younger version of Martha Stewart, but way cooler. And we partnered with her.
And never mind. I didn't say what I was going to say.
We partnered with her last year, and just the power of a post. She did one post for us, and it generated over just about $200,000 in sales.
Wow.
Just the power of one post.
Unbelievable.
And so what we did was we learned, well, this is a really good way to help grow the company. So we are actively working with multiple influencers right now, but it's great. They built their audience, they're following their foundation on themselves, and people believe in what they're doing. And so when they're using our product or talking about our product, it sells. It works.
So how do you identify influencers that you think will enhance or be able to best represent your brand?
It's really about being unique, and there's a lot of people, everybody thinks they're an influencer right now, but the people that are doing a great job and the people that we seek are the ones that are original. They're very heavy on content. They produce original content. Like the gentleman that you met, Matt Crawford, Sasquatch Barbecue on Instagram. He's so unique. He'll literally go out into the mountains right near Mount St. Helens, and he's a big burly dude. He'll bring his grill with him, and he'll bring these massive cuts of meat, and he'll just grill right next to waterfalls, and people love it. They love it. His videos get hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views, and so that's who we identify. We identify the people that are moving and shaking in social media.
And what platforms do you find most beneficial for these influencers? Instagram?
Yeah,
Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook are they're what we work with.
I think it's just fascinating how you're disrupting kind of the marketing side of things, right? I mean, because I had never even heard of this until I was at one of your events at at the end of last year and met one of these influencers, and it took me a few minutes just to get my head around it, right? And it's so unique and so new, right? You're on the bleeding edge, if you will, or leading edge of how you market. So Pete, let's talk about what are your big goals for this year? What's next?
Yeah, so 2018 we accomplished a lot of things that were very pivotal for the company. We built out our marketing team, and we have such an amazing marketing team. And we built out our food service team. So we've focused on just building out our teams, and with that, 2019, we have some major marketing initiatives that we're just about to launch. A lot of them are top secret, and we have a lot of new products that we're about to launch. I spoke on some of the new flavors, but for example, with True Cooks, we're just about to launch our own cutlery line, which is a massive undertaking.
Wow.
So yeah, lots of new products, and lots of scaling our marketing initiatives.
So one of the challenges that you guys have to be facing as you grow so rapidly is how do you establish, define, and work with to create a corporate culture that's healthy and allows you to do this kind of rapid growth? Because it has to be stressful for your employees too.
It is very stressful. Culture is something that's near and dear to us, and we try as hard as we can to maintain it. But it's tough. We doubled our headcount in 6 months, and so what we rely on is the people that have been there, that have the tenure and the people that have been here to help pass that through.
Live it
and breathe it and lead by example. So yeah, it's one of our biggest challenges, but we're doing pretty darn well with it.
And what do you think the most important points of your culture at Spiceology are?
This is a great question.
And don't take too long to answer it, Pete. We're almost out of time.
No pressure.
We are just... How much time do I have?
No, not enough. Not enough.
Dang it.
We'll have to come back. You'll have to come back. Here's what I want to say.
We should do a segment on it someday.
What a fascinating journey, story. I can't wait to see how Spiceology continues to grow and evolve. And what I think is just super awesome is that you might think there's technology behind all of what you do, but you're not a traditional tech-based company.
No.
And you're showing that lifestyle businesses can actually be scalable lifestyle businesses. You're getting funding. You're on a great trajectory. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Super excited to have you in our region. Thanks for joining us today, Pete. And we hope you'll join us next time for other podcasts as we bring you other entrepreneurs and resources that can help you to be successful in our region. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Media.
Startup Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is a joint effort between GSI's Startup Spokane, Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Talks Online. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. We wish you a great and profitable day.